Conversations with Sandra, the podcast, Sunday edition. Joining me is Professor Sunflower. We're going to talk about divergence. We're going to talk about a little healing and how to excel and how to put yourself out there, right? So, we're going to wait till she comes on. She'll be coming on in just a little while. Nigel, hello. So this is a podcast that I rescheduled due to a big move that I was making. And I had to cancel. And this is an impromptu reschedule. It's both of us getting together, and we're going to be talking a little something, a bit of this and a little bit of that. And while we're coming on, she'll be hopping on in just a second. But first I want to say I attune myself to the creative impulses that indwell in me and seek to express in, through, and as me as I present this podcast to you today. It's, like I said, impromptu, and I hope that you will enjoy it. So we're just going to wait a little bit. Hi, Nigel. How have you been? I'm glad you joined. I'm glad that, hi, Jersey Jackson 4009. I love that screen name. Hello, hello, hello. And while we're waiting, I am going to talk a little bit about another book that it's a small book, but I will also be reading a little of this book called Prosperity, Plenitude, and Infinite Possibilities. It is also by Michael Bernard Beckwith. And I'm going to read a couple of paragraphs from it while we continue to finish these two books that I've got left, Spiritual Liberation and Seed of the Soul. Hopefully soon I will be starting back reading. You just sat down. Oh, you just sat down. Wonderful, wonderful. And I am seeing Professor Sunflower come into my room. I'm going to give her a wave, and then I'm going to invite her. When I invite people in, I think the vocals go away, so forgive me for that. But I'm saying welcome, welcome. Hello, goddess.
Hi, beautiful. How are you?
I'm doing so much better this weekend. Wonderful. And I'm glad we got to reschedule right now. I love it that you look so golden. You do.
Thank you.
You're resonating that golden goddess look. Oh, and I love those earrings.
Thank you, honey. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of hard work out here in these streets.
Yeah. How are you enjoying your new place?
Oh, I'm loving it. I love it. It's so me. It's so me. Finally found a place that was me. I've been kind of moving around and figuring it out, but I'm finally in a place that I feel like it's me.
Good. Yeah. I finally got my hair the way I want it.
Okay.
You know, I got it. I got the growth grew back. So for about about 4 years, I had not had any heat on it. I had not had any relaxers or any dyes or anything. And finally it grew, but I was always having, my hair has very tight curls.
Yes.
Okay. Let's just put it this way. For me, it's those tight curls that don't you even look at them. Don't even think about combing through them. I grew up, I was what my mother and my grandmother called very tender-headed.
Me too.
Right? So when relaxers came in, I just told my mom, I don't want anybody pulling on my hair. I don't think the growth or the taking care of your hair, I don't think that you should have crocodile tears. My mother said, okay. So I had been a relaxer girl, and I had took care of my hair doing it that way until I started introducing dyes to it. So finally, when I got it grown back, my daughter says, decide what you want to do with your hair, Mom. What makes you happy? And I told her, what makes me happy is to not struggle with my hair. And I would hear people say, oh, you need this kind of product and you need this kind of product. And going healthy is, what you should be. Be proud of those locks. And no, but it's just straight. Look at all that beautiful white in my hair.
I see.
See
All that
white?
wisdom.
It's like, ah. So no light relaxer and no color whatsoever. I'm just embracing my, so
Where you are in life. Yeah.
yeah. And I feel good. I feel really good. So
Good.
but I'm just loving that outfit. I'm loving those earrings. I love, is that your gazebo? What is that you're in? It's swinging. It looks like you're enjoying the summer already.
Well, this is actually my couch. So I brought like this let me see if I can, hold on, let me take you off the thing. So it's kind of like a swing couch.
Oh, it's gorgeous. The color.
So I got it from QVC, and I put my little pillow that matches. You can't see, well, little pillow with the love on there.
Yeah.
And so it kind of matches what I got going on here. I had juice right here right before I came on, and someone was like, "You gonna spill that juice?" I was like, "I'll be fine." The thing swung, and right before we got on, I had to clean up the spill off the carpet.
Oh, okay.
But,
okay.
I decided against a regular couch because that's all I wanted. I had this couch, and I was like, I don't like it, and it was pretty new, and I was like, I want something that's more like where I am. And so I bought this thing. It was about $600. Maybe not that much. Maybe $400. And it just feels like me. So I sit in it, and at night I have these big windows here, and I'm enjoying it. Like I said, this space is so me, and so I'm just happy to be here. This is the most comfortable chair ever. I had somebody come to my house, and they sat in it. It was like, you really should get a couch. And I was like, this is the couch. No, a regular couch. Why? To accommodate somebody else? But I need to accommodate somebody else for.
You see my look. I was like, why? To accommodate you, who's not going to be here as much as I'm going to be here? Let's have this moment. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so hold on. Let me take you off of the thingy and turn you. Let's see. How do I do this? Turn you around.
Okay.
Okay. And this is me right here. This is all my desk, and I'm in my common area, right? And that's my kitchen and my dining room. But let me show you. You're going to see some boxes. I haven't. Those are.
Yeah, I'm still unpacking mine too.
But this is my seating area. No couch.
Right. Because what you need a couch for?
Yeah. No couch. Right?
Yeah.
So hold on a second. Let me turn you back around.
Yeah. Let me show you these windows. I think you're gonna love these windows. These are my windows.
Those are gorgeous. You guys, we will get into the conversation, but this is part of this the podcast Sunday, right? That's a beautiful staircase, and look at those walls.
Yeah, put those pictures. There's black women with roses over their face. So let me get close so you can kind of see. I found them at my favorite store, Ross.
Ooh, Ross, yeah.
And then this one, my favorite.
Yeah.
And this is the first one. This is the first one I bought. She has a little spider on her hand.
Yeah.
So yeah. And so you see my clouds from the other apartment up there. That's my loft area up there where I was working. And you can kind of see, still working on it, but it's coming together. Yeah. And I got my balcony.
Ooh, Gorgeous. Yes, I went from a patio to a balcony. I'm going to say that's the best thing that I've ever done. It's a beautiful,
Yes.
I haven't finished working on it yet. That's my next weekend kind of out and about, finding eclectic things, you know,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I'm one of those people. I'm kind of fast, I'm neurodivergent. So my thing is, I need to get my space the way I need it to be, so
Mhm.
that I can feel comfortable. So I've been making sure I have things so that I feel like, okay, not so antsy and all over the place.
Right, right. I'm just kind of, I've got so much light in here, even with the shades kind of uh, pulled back. It's like if I'm too lit, there's nothing I can do. I went from my old place where it was just completely dark and no sun coming in. Now I just got beautiful sun coming in. So let's let's see. Nigel says I'm jealous. No little things through about through about the place.
Right.
Oh, yeah, you know, well, it's all in the eye of the beholder by us seeing what our visions are and when it's a done product, Nige. So it's a work for me. Mine is still a work in
Mine
progress.
too.
Yeah. Hold on. That's it. I'm getting rid of trinkets.
Me
No,
too.
don't get rid of trinkets if you don't want to.
Right.
But what I found out is, for me, those things that I held on to it for a long time, that I never even in the 3 years of me being the 3 years and after of COVID, things that I didn't touch, I didn't pull out to utilize or whatnot. I just went, okay, either it's goodwill or I just throw it out. It's kind of like, it's okay to pare down, you
Yeah.
know. I
I got a bunch of stuff in the car that's going to Goodwill after, our live, because I was like, I don't need all of this stuff. What is it that I need and I feel comfortable with? So me just learning how to just shed that skin and say, what do you need, Liv? What makes you happy? This chair makes you happy. I just bought this yesterday. This makes me happy and it matches the decor, just to feel good.
I'm trying to figure out something that will give me less. Oh, no, 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 no. Hold on.
Yes, cosmic resting.
Which one?
Nesting going on. Yes, it's almost Mystic said it almost seems like there's a cosmic resting going on. I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Nesting, not
Nest.
resting, nesting going on. Yeah, I agree. People getting in the places where they want to be, where they need to be, where they should be. Finally, after however long, because Mystic, I feel the same way. Like finally in a space that is my nest. Finally, it took me years, and going to a whole nother state. you know.
Okay. If that works. It might be my eyes. Maybe I'm
Sure, you
just
look
trying to find.
beautiful.
Is that better? Is
No, it's darker.
hmm?
The other one was like, no, I can't even see you. You real blurry. You
Is
no, you had one that was real clear.
real clear?
That's good. Is that no? That's none.
Yeah, that's none.
Okay. I don't have one on myself, but that's kind of like, that's okay.
This one or this one? Maybe that one with a little heart.
Yeah, I like her.
You know what? I have a feeling it's usually these aren't as blurry. I wonder what's going. Oh, hold on. Let's see.
Um, Happy
No.
days. Anything is not used in 6 months has to go. Listen, sometimes, because I got clothes in the closet that I ain't wear for a year, and I done pulled it out and came out looking fabulous. So the closet, that's a whole nother situation. But this right here is new. I actually decided to invest in new clothes because I am the new Olivia, also known as Professor Sunflower.
Ah,
I
there we go.
like this. What is this? Whatever this is, you are booming.
Boom,
Boom.
right there. right?
Yes.
You're going to see my refrigerator. You're going to see the TV, because what it is I had you facing where the sun was coming through my my blinds,
Okay.
and right here is perfect. I want
Looks good.
Hi, Bernice. Hi, Ray. Um, what does Nigel say? Nothing for me? What is nothing for me?
I don't know.
Or,
Maybe there was a conversation going on.
done. Deplorable Craig says none is perfect. Oh, you mean none is perfect
No
for
filter.
yeah, yeah.
Hi, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Professor Sunflower Olivia here
Yeah.
with Miss Beautiful Sandra.
Yes.
Thank you for the
And
follow, Al.
yeah, I'm okay. Oh, no filter. You're absolutely right. And had I this is no filter with
Thank you.
without the phone facing the facing my blinds, because the sun is still coming through my blinds. So that's all right. You know, you get to see you know, stuff in the mix. I got stuff in the mix. Love the sunflower. Yes. Isn't she gorgeous? Doesn't she look radiant? I love it.
Thank
So
you.
we are on a Sunday. Um, this is my Sunday special edition. The reason why is because we were set up to be on June 12th, and it did not work out because I was moving. Well, I had finished moving, but my body was just drained. It was just, I've never felt anything like that, and it was moving through me. I am not that energy, but I had to acknowledge that it existed and it moved through me, and I had to get to this part of me that is now feeling much better. And it was more, I think it was more than the move. I think it was an energy that I don't know if the moon, if it was moon or stars, or I don't know anything about being out of alignment as far as cosmic, you know, things like that. The sunlight will close the aperture of the camera and make it look darker in the room. Oh, okay. Okay. So actually I need to be facing the sun, and the camera or lenses need to be facing away from the camera. So it's just I think we all have been feeling this energy that has been draining us. What do you think?
Yeah, I've been more tired lately. I've been more tired and just trying to figure out, why am I so tired? But I've gone through a lot of changes in the last 6 months that has really drained me. So I think I'm just now coming back to myself, and like I was at church today and I was falling asleep, and I was like, I'm not sleepy. Why am I falling asleep today? But yeah, I think that there is something going on where I think Mystic said it, something about cosmic nesting, something about that nesting
Mm-hmm.
kind of just rest, like a rest. We've been all over the place for so long, and now it's time for certain people to rest and nest where they're going to be. I feel like, I think that was a word, Mystic, if you're still here. I think that was a word.
Yeah. Al says it says, I'll say it. Her name is Ray. Ray says that the Schumann resonance is wild today. Well, today was the first day that I've actually felt very rested, that felt very calm, felt very at home, and actually felt my happiness expanding. You know, the Schumann resonance is off the charts right now. So does that mean that others are feeling something? I don't know. I can't speak for others, but all I know is for the last what I was giving or believing it was my move. That was, me going back and forth with my ego, trying to keep it in check. Let me tell
Yeah, ego is a mother, ain't it?
Yes, it is. It is, I'm going to tell you, keeping that in check. And, which means it kind of, it's like we feel our feelings. We're supposed to feel our feelings. We're supposed to allow things to flow. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Okay, Ray, give us a little bit of time, and then I will. This is kind of like my Soul Conversation podcast, so I will ask my guest if she would allow me to invite another guest in. But give us some time to have our conversation first, so that I can give her the time that she duly deserves, because I missed it. And I'm feeling really good about this, because we're going to talk about, and I don't know if this will pair really well with the neurodivergence, this energy that we're feeling. So let's get into that, because I've seen a couple of your videos talking about neurodivergence. And you said you just did one, but I don't know if you want to do spoilers on the one that you just did.
Yeah,
Okay, another.
that's fine.
Well, stay with us, Ray. So let's talk. I know that the one that I saw last time was how neurodivergents need time to accept things into their life, to accept change into their not just their life, but their habits of what they're used to doing. And if change happens and they're not accepting of it, it can lead them to thinking about how they're a failure. Did I get that correct?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like we have fixated mindset. So we think, oh, hi, sugar. We think in black and white. So if you say the sky is purple, then sky is purple. You can't then turn around and be like, oh, no, it's green. Whatever you say it is. So when change comes, it kind of throws us for a loop, because we're fixated on that thing. We're fixated on this job. We're fixated on this way of looking at things. And so to change it in the middle kind of gives us anxiety. It gives us anxiety because girl, this cat is all over the place. We had our minds set on this is how this one thing goes, and we don't go well for changes. Now we got to change it, and it gives us anxiety. Well, now that means I got to change this, and it just overwhelms us. And so I didn't want to accept stop. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't know why little sugar.
Hi, sugar.
Say hi, everybody. I was diagnosed at 14 with ADHD, and I struggled because I probably have more neurodivergence than that, but that's when I'm diagnosed with. But I've always had struggles with social skills. At one point in my life, what we're doing gave me anxiety, because I always felt like people were judging me. If a hair that nobody could see was out of place,
right,
I couldn't do it. Walking down the street, I would cross the street on the other side because the people were sitting on their step. I just had immense social anxiety. And just because I felt like an outsider everywhere.
Okay.
And even at the playground, I didn't know how to play with kids. I was just watching. My mom go play. What do I say to these kids? Hi. I didn't know how to say hi. How you doing? Change just made me nervous. But growing out of that and growing into myself and accepting that I had ADHD, that's where it started. Accepting it. 2 years ago when I came to Arizona, my mind was spinning all over the place. I had to accept who I was and accept that the things, like I used to look at people on the internet and want my life to be like theirs, because I got all these master's degrees and my life should look like this and my life should look like that. And I was trying to look like neurotypical people when I'm not. I'm different, I'm creative, I'm a genius in my own right. But trying to look like them never worked out for me. So now I'm embracing. That's why I couldn't get my channel together, because I was talking about all these other things, and it wasn't easy for me to make videos because I wasn't being authentically true to myself. I was trying to be what I seen over there on that side of the internet street. And then I decided to accept myself and talk about neurodivergency, because that's what I know. That's what I know like the back of my hand. And now that I have grown into myself and I'm a behavior analyst, how I have taught myself how to be social. I taught myself a lot of stuff. I mean, I'm a clap for myself, because Lord knows, I didn't want to be on medicine. I didn't want to. I wanted to be this girl. I don't want to be a watered down version of myself. And
Craig asked, are you near Sedona or do you travel there? You live in Arizona, right?
yes, I'm in Phoenix.
She's in Phoenix. Okay.
Yeah.
Welcome, Justin. And Ray says, can you see the comments? Girl, please.
Yes, thank you. I just had to really just be myself. I just have to be myself, because at the end of the day, me trying to fake and funk and try to be somebody else, it's not authentically me. Yeah. And the video that I was putting up today, as we was talking earlier, I went from social to having
from social.
Yeah, it gets deeper. It goes down a deep rabbit hole, doesn't it? Are you okay now? I was doing a video about how us neurodivergents can be very naive, because we want to see the best in everybody. We want to help everybody. We want to see you do good,
And that would just be people pleasing everybody else, right?
Yeah. But we don't see it that way, because we see it, neurodivergents see it like this. I'm a late diagnosis of 37. Okay, that makes sense. We don't see it like people pleasing. We see it like, because everything is black and white. If you say, I want to be a dentist, we're going to say, here go the steps you take to be a dentist, because we're so knowledgeable about things and we want to give you the help. We helping, but we don't look at it like we trying to please you. If you say, I want to be a dentist, here go the steps. We might just know it from the top of our head. And then when you don't do it, we get mad, because we like, we just gave you the steps, but we don't understand that you might just be talking. And to us, we don't, why you saying it if you don't mean that? Right. So kind of like that. That makes sense?
Yeah. Justin says division as in autism, divergent.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah. It's more than just autism, though.
Yeah.
It's
on the spectrum of many different labels that we can have. Yeah. I think it's I think we're so used to having psychiatrists and psychologists and doctors and schools and everywhere else that want to figure the label and then lump everybody into that category, and not know that on the spectrum, that's what you call a spectrum. Right. There's, if you looked at this spiral as a spectrum till you get to the dot in the middle, but there's many places where people, I hate to even use the word fit in, because we're telling people that you fit in based on a certain program that has been used for a millennia. And I just say millennia so it shows how long that we've been doing that. We've been saying, well, these people place as normal.
Right. Neurotypical. Mm-hmm.
And then everybody else that does not fit into that is abnormal.
Right. Right. And that's where things get kind of fuzzy, because in my research, now the key buzzword is narcissism. Narcissistic personality disorder is a neurodivergence, because it comes based off of trauma. You know what I mean? They trying to please themselves. They trying to feed themselves what they didn't have or what their parents didn't give them. So they're giving it to themselves in a way that they know how. You know? And, you know, people, I mean, I know, Sandra, you're not really favorable about labels, but I use the labels in order to help people identify where
Yeah.
they are.
Yeah. I get that. I identify with the label to identify where a person is in order to help themselves transcend beyond that label. Hold on.
She said people adjusting. Yes, people adjusting.
Actually, I like that.
Mhm.
It helps you adjust yourself to other people.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's what we do. We bend and twist and adjust ourselves to the point where we're a skeleton of who we really
Yeah.
are. Because we're trying to help. We want you to be great. We want to be great. We're not really thinking about us. We think about you because we love people,
Right.
you know. And I ended up being a shell of myself doing that.
Okay.
Um,
So how do neurodivergence get from I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna allow source to help me with the words. How do they get from being that person that wants to help other people based on the conversation that they're having with other people, based on the conversation, like you and I could have a conversation and I could say to you, well, you know, I love doing the podcast. I love doing it this way. I love starting it on this platform and then, you know, saving it, you know, my process, I save it to my phone. I save it and I save it here and I save it there and I get it over here and blah, blah, blah. But, you know, I really would like to have my Spotify platform be in YouTube and on YouTube and blah, 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 blah. How do you get from helping me, you know, from that going, oh, I heard your conversation, you know, I'm just having a random conversation with you. I don't know when I'm going to start it or how it's going to go, but you've already got, as a neurodivergent, you've already started the process to helping me. How do you get to it just being a conversation between you and me, and it's nothing you have to do for me on that other end? Does that?
well, yes, I know exactly what you're saying. Well, one, I have learned, ain't nobody asked me for help. I might
Mhm.
I might have the information and I just mind my business. I might know the answer, but unless you ask me specifically,
Mhm.
I'm not going to just be like, sometimes I do. Sometimes I still do. I'll be like, oh, you could just, and then I catch myself and be like, you know, I just mind my business. We just keep talking. I'm like, oh, girl, and then I'll start asking like, oh, what are you thinking about starting? I'll instead of me wanting to give information, I'll be like, okay, what are you going to be talking about?
Oh.
Oh, when are you thinking about starting it? I will do that instead of saying, oh, girl, because you know and then it turns into like me helping you and all that, and I could definitely help you if you ask me. Now, when people say stuff like they're talking to me, like my cousin and me used to talk, she used to say stuff. And before I used to just give the information. And now she was like, are you listening? I'm like, yeah. She said, well, you're not saying that. I was like, you didn't ask me for anything. Do you want me to listen or are you asking? So now I say, is there something you're looking for?
Mhm.
Because I could give something, but you need to ask for it now. Because I've got myself in trouble giving people unsolicited advice. I ain't mind my business.
Me too. I finally, before I finish my sentence, and I'm going to finish my sentence, I want to make sure that I'm including people in the room. Ray says women learn to high mask with
What
independence.
does that mean?
High mask. Well,
What does that
I
mean?
think what it means is we take on a persona or a mask that keeps us hidden from the because we had to hide our indifferences. Right. So we take on a persona that other people can't see when we're trying to be a certain way. Is
That
that?
makes sense. I mean, I used to do that all the time. I just stopped doing it not too long ago because I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm tired of being somebody else.
Neurodivergents have to get to is that when they're tired, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, kind of. I'm sick and tired of hiding. It takes too much energy. So let me say this, that I was the same way. Not that I'm putting a label on me, but certainly I can have these personas of neurodivergence in me, because I believe that I think everybody is on the spectrum. I think most people think that they lucked out. And I think that we are all on the spectrum because we are all spiritual, having a human incarnation, and we're a spirit being, having all these nuances and filtering it through a dense human vibratory body, and it's showing up differently to everybody else, or all of those who think that they are well, that they are healthy, well, and that they are very wise, and that nothing's wrong. And I use these air quotes because they're the ones that are making the labels and putting everybody or labeling everybody in the spectrum based on their tests that they're doing, or based on the tests that they have done, their group test, or their lab test. And we tested 150 people, and 99 of them tested well, and on the and those other ones, they had problems, they didn't understand it, or they viewed it a different way, so something must be wrong with them. And but for me, it was the same thing. It was very rudely brought to my attention by and it had to be done this way by a friend of mine that pretty much told me that when somebody has a conversation with you, when they invite you into a conversation, that if they have the conversation, whether or not they're coming back for the third or fifth time saying the same thing, sometimes they don't want you to give any information. They don't want you. And if they don't ask for the help, then you don't give anything.
Right.
And when at first I was very taken back by it. But then I kind of said to her, I said, then that means that you're drawn to my energy of me wanting to help, because I'm called to be a person to serve, right? So you're drawn to my energy to help and be of service. But what you want to do is you want me, and this is where I began to understand it. This is where I took the hurt that my ego was about to shove onto me as being, oh, I'm hurt and I'm very offended, to me understanding that what you want to do is you want to come and you want to dump all your energy field of being unhappy, not being able to move on with whatever you're moving on. And it's okay that you want to spend about 20-30 minutes having a conversation, or maybe even an hour having a conversation, dumping on me, dumping all your energy, and then leaving the room. And I said, and this is where probably that neurodivergent, that I want to help a person and I want to make sure they get it, and I want to make, maybe I didn't tell it, that they're coming to me a second time, maybe I didn't tell them the right way, and maybe it's me, maybe I'm not doing the conversation. But she said, if they don't ask, you don't say anything. Right. And you're absolutely right. But here's my thing, what helped me allow her to understand me is, if you're coming to me again with the same thing over and over again, then you can acknowledge yourself. What's neurodivergence about you, and why you're bringing that to me?
Well, when I hear things like that, because I've been in situations like that over and over again, I just say, I'd say, I'm like, didn't we talk about this last time? I was like, well, I'm not out. Sometimes I just say, I don't really want to talk about that. And some people get mad. Like, I just had to learn how to shut some conversations down, because it takes too much of my energy to be having the same conversation that and let's say you ask for information and say, girl, what can I do? You know, and I told you, and we bringing it back and back and back and back and back. We living in Groundhog Day. That's not it.
Yeah, that's what it is. We're living Groundhog's Day, and you keep coming back. Because before, I would give you my information freely without you asking. And then you would come back and you come back. And then you tell me, well, if some people just don't ask, then you just need to not offer. This is a person who we've been having several conversations. And so that was her way of saying, I'm just here to dump on you. Not that you're not my friend, but I'm just here to leave a little in your room to feel better for me. And then
honestly, sometimes they just looking for somebody to, oh girl, you all right. Sometimes that's what they looking for. And so if I have that and I got this from somebody on these internet streets, that my capacity, I don't have that capacity today. Sometimes I have the capacity and I can, like for example, I was at my new job and the lady started crying, and the first time she started crying, I was like, oh, are you okay? And you know, I gave her a little hug. The next time I seen her with tears in her eyes, you know what I said? I was like, oh, it's these allergies out here, Kenya? I said, girl, I got allergies too. Because I wasn't sure if it was allergies or she was crying, but I didn't want to deal with that crying thing again, because every time I see you, I don't want you to think that I don't got time for that. We here to work, girl. All that crying stuff. And so then I said, did you take any, later on, I said, did you take any allergy medicine? That's when I knew it wasn't allergy. She said, I'm okay. I was like, oh, this ain't allergy. She going through something. So I let it go. And then the next day she was like, oh yeah, you know, I was going through something. I was like, oh, we all go through stuff. Because I don't want to, she want me to ask, what was going on? I don't care what you got going on, girl.
So, do you think she is that? I'm going to ask this: is that a neurodivergent trait as well, as to try to coax people into asking?
That's a manipulation trait, honestly. I don't think that has anything to do with neurodivergent. She might be struggling with emotional regulation, which is a neurodivergent trait. This woman, like 60 years old. What they say, if you don't know it by now, girl, like, come on. And I hate to sound so heartless, because I feel like I sound heartless, but that old girl who used to coddle and coddle and coddle and coddle people now selects who to give that to.
Okay.
Because it pulls from me so much, because I'm so empathetic and I'm so caring and I'm so loving that I keep pouring and then I'm empty. So right now it might seem like I'm cold, but it's like I just don't have capacity to go to work every day and not know if I gotta deal with you crying. Let me shut that down right now. Not dealing with it. And I don't say it like that. I'm like, oh, I just turn it into something else. So then she didn't come to me with her crying stuff. She went somewhere else. And honestly, Sandra, the older Olivia would have felt bad. The new one is like, girl, you got to conserve your energy, because you got a job to do. You got a manual to put together for the PBIS program, for this whole school and how it's going to run. You don't have time to be putting that energy into that.
Okay. So then with how do neurodivergence, okay, so we see, we know a little bit about change, right? That they in order for them to change, they have to work through the process of change.
Yes.
Right? It's not like change just comes easily. And I'll give you
it's very
an example.
Hard.
Huh?
It's very hard.
It's very hard. Okay, so an example would be they're in a job where owners change hands and rules change in a department, or their supervisors change, or this change. how do you get them when you're talking with them? How do you get them to work through that change while they're in the presence of other people who don't understand that that change is difficult for them?
Um, Honestly, I'm gonna be real honest. A lot of times, us as neurodivergent people who have different neurodivergence, we don't always tell people, even in our jobs, we don't disclose to people that we are ADHD or that we have certain things. So a lot of times they don't know. So they're expecting us to be neurotypical, whatever that means, because everybody got something going on. So honestly, it's a such thing as neurodivergence in the workplace, and that is still being developed in our society. But what I would say is, I can only speak for myself. I got to once I got broke down. When I met you, Sandra, I was at a broke down place last year.
Right.
Once I got broken and I built myself back up, I am not. I just, things are happening. It's changing all around me at this new job that I'm at. You know what my line is? Okay, I don't get upset no more. Am I getting my paycheck? I sure am. 2, this job ain't forever. How is this job going to benefit me, right? What am I going to take with me to elevate myself, right? So I look at it like, okay, it's changing, okay. I don't know what changed for me. I don't, because I changed my whole mindset. It's like, all right, Liv, just tell me what's expected of me. If you tell me what's expected of me, any changes that you bring, okay, but just tell me the foundation of what you want me to do. You want me to put this manual together? Okay. You told me one thing Monday, the next Monday you told me something else. What I do is write it in the manual. So when you go back and try to say, that's not what you said, I said, no. You told me that this is what I'm doing. I write it down. And so, I've learned to go with the flow now, because these jobs are not my end all be all. These jobs for me is a means to an end. But somebody who's younger and it still has that, I want to do it my way and all of that, it's going to be a battle for them, because I was that girl. I want to do it how I see it, even though this is your job.
Right.
That's going to be a long road for them, because they still are, they're seeing it from their perspective and not the perspective of the company that they work from. This is not my stuff.
Right. Hi, Boyka. Right.
And I had to learn it. Now that I have my own business, that's not mine. I'm helping you build yours, but me helping you build yours is helping me build mine.
Oh, okay. Okay. So when you're working with children that have neurodivergence, right?
Yes. And primarily autistic, but they also have dyslexic, autism, ADHD, and different variations. Some of them have severe schizophrenia, like they be having suicidal thoughts. They be having all kind of stuff going on.
Okay.
In addition to the autism.
Okay. So then you're working with the children to help them, but you're also helping to teach the parents how to work with them.
Yeah. Right? So what I do is I do behavior assessment. So I do an FBA and I do what we call BIPS. And then I'm putting the program together for the behavior management system. I'm teaching the teachers how to implement it. I'm teaching the behavior coaches. Then I'll have meetings monthly with the parents regarding behaviors, regarding how we can get them, if they need glasses, what can we do, supporting, and all of that. And I do all of that. It's a big job. And sometimes even me talking about it, I'm like, girl, you got a lot on your plate. So I just take it day by day, because it's a big role. And it's a big role, and sometimes I be like, girl, girl, so I can't, the way I'm speaking it to you, I don't look at it like that.
Right.
I break it down into sections. Right now, I'm putting this manual together, which is really, really scary because I've never done this. I've never done this before, and what I do know is teaching me, because now that I'm in Philadelphia school, I've opened another door for myself to get into. Once this is done with this school, I created the blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
Can take that, what I created, and take it somewhere else. So that's why I'm not fighting against these changes that this place has, because at the end of the day, it serves me, because I created this, and if I create it once, I could create it again.
Yeah.
So
Wonderful.
I'm grateful.
I love the fact that you use the word blueprint, because when I'm reading with my Michael Beckwith and all the books that I'm reading, it's about our souls having a blueprint when they come in. They have a blueprint of what they've come into our body to have this human incarnation about in our school, and it's a blueprint. It's not really a fine tune or a finely tuned contract that you need to break. You need to figure out how to break. It's the soul comes in and says, I want to learn what unconditional love is. I know what it is in spirit. I know that it's energy, and I know that it's light. Now I want to know what it's like through the human qualities that we've given, that soul has created. And it's a blueprint. Our soul comes in and says to us, here's this blueprint. And the blueprints are in pencil. It's
erasable.
And erasable. So we can say, oh, okay, that looks really great there, but I don't want that room there anymore. I think it would look better in the east, the southeastern corner where the sun sets a little better. And you go, oh, really? That's where you want it? Okay, let's erase it. Let's, do this. Let's make sure, it's the foundation is okay.
Ray is saying something. Al, is that Ray? He said, I like what he said. We are not mental challenges. We're not disease. No, we're not. We are divergent. We are different. And he talked about the DSM-5. The DSM-5 is a book of criterias, but some of us don't even fit in those criterias, right?
Right.
It's just a.
I let her into this conversation.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Let's hold on. Ray, I tried. Let me know if that works. Yes. So tell me more about what is DSM-5.
It's the diagnosis criteria. Hello.
Hello, Divine Rising.
Divine Rising to you.
Okay, and this is my Soul Conversation podcast for it's a special Sunday edition. So if you've got any noise in your background, could you mute while you have the noise? Would you mind?
No. Hold on.
Okay. So let's
try to mute it.
Conversation.
So the DSM-5 is a book of, that's where all the diagnoses live. Like they changed it from the DSM-4 to the DSM-5, and they merged certain things like Asperger's and autism. Now they're under the same umbrella. So they use that book as a way to define diagnosis, right? Schizophrenia, if you got these 14 out of 20, then you're classically diagnosed. But some people have a few of this and a few of that and a few of that. And that's where the diagnosis thing gets kind of out of control, because sometimes you're just neurodivergent. Sometimes you just are different. And sometimes there's no label. Like they told my cousin, she was a sociopath. Turns out she's ADHD. A lot of times they just don't know, and they're giving you medicine based off of if you meet these criteria, but that's not necessarily wrong with you. They don't talk to you. They're not talking to you. They're not listening. They can't hear you. And they're also looking at you from their limited view. They have a limited view of who you are.
Right.
Right? You had something to say?
Ray?
Oh,
Did you?
I agree with a lot of the things that you're talking about. Like, I'm a late diagnosis, and one of the biggest things I've been having an issue with is my partner is having a hard time understanding the fact that it's going to take time for me to adjust to being autistic. And he's like, well, you've been autistic all your life, so you should just be fine with it. No.
Right. Okay.
There's an
You're
adjustment period.
in a whole other part now. Like now you got you have a label, and what does that label really mean? Yes, I felt like this all of my life, but now I'm over here, and it's different now, and they're gonna look at you different, and it's a different feeling over there. Sorry, I felt you, girl.
Yeah.
I get really heated about it because, like, I was a massage therapist for 12 years. So I had a very clear-cut routine for 12 years. Then I hit my first autistic burnout when I lost my car and my job within 24 hours.
You know, you're not synced up. You just kind of froze a little.
Every night.
Yeah, the internet might not be it might be a little off.
Yeah.
Let me turn that one off, see if that helps. Is that better?
It's
Maybe.
still spinning a little, but we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay, well, what I'll do is I'll calm down for a second. It's basically like, I remember when I hit my first autistic burnout, and then after I lost my car and my job, basically everything that I have masked and layered for how many years, because I got diagnosed at 37. So I've only been able to navigate my new universe for a year. There are days when I'm executive functioning. Sorry?
I said that can be hard.
Yeah. What I've noticed is, like, I got curious about my mental health because my son is on the spectrum. We're just waiting to get on the line for the waiting list for his ADOS.
Mm-hmm.
But thankfully, he got his IEP. And what's so frustrating with that is it took over a year. So my son couldn't get the care or the help until after a year.
And you know what? You also, what you can do, here's me giving unsolicited advice right now, because you can get a child advocate lawyer, and you can get money based off of that year that they didn't get that IEP, because that's how I funded my business, based off of the school district dropping the ball, taking too long to get these kids that IDEA. You're not giving these kids what they're supposed to have. I'm getting upset. I'm getting hyped now. You can get money. You can get money based off of the fact that it took a year for them to put an IEP together. So if you find a child advocate lawyer that will sue the school district, you will get back money for what they did not do with your child. Girl, I do this in my business. We can talk about it if you want to talk about it and help you figure out how to do that.
I would love to talk to you more about it. I'm actually becoming a very strong advocate even when I'm on TikTok. Today I was supposed to do readings. I ended up talking to people that really resonated with me being an advocate for autism, because I don't look like the candidate of being autistic. So I've been educating people, as well as I'm helping other women realize that maybe they're not bipolar, maybe they're not schizophrenic, they may actually be more on the spectrum, and they're not having episodes, they're having meltdowns.
Right.
And I've got to experience that recently in a crisis center.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're here having this conversation because I'm not saying people have dropped the ball. You know, the world's science and doctors and social sciences and psychologists, they all know what they believe they know to be true based on their information. but they're basing their information on what they believe to call everybody else who is within their spectrum of health. And then everybody outside of that small community, there's something wrong with them, right?
Right. And that's what we're fighting. That's the war we're fighting against, because you're neurodivergent. We all got something going on with us. If we really be honest, and like you said, Sandra, there's a spectrum. Some people are higher. I've noticed that the kids that are the most intelligent on the IQ scale are the ones that suffer with certain things. They are so intelligent that they don't know certain little things. They don't know you're supposed to do this before this. They need help with that, because they're got that super lasers focus on whatever they're focusing. Sometimes it's trains, sometimes it's books, sometimes it's games, sometimes whatever that laser focus is, they are expert at that thing. And then they turn around and say they can't be expert at that because they need to they need to learn this. No, they can be an expert at that and still learn these other things, but you can't chop off their neck just to be like, oh, well, because they're different than what you expect.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. That's all I got to say is for me, one of my grandchildren, he can have a beautiful conversation, but he doesn't look at you. And at first it was, what's wrong with him? Well, how do we figure out? Well, just let him talk to you. See, because we're coming from that old school mentality. Look at me when I'm talking to you.
And that might be uncomfortable for him.
Right. That's how I know that you're going to understand this. And really, come on, this is one of the things that I had to step away from, because I grew up in that, and I had to say, well, look, I need to let that go and just have a conversation, right? So what I saw worked is, if I'm having a conversation with my grandson and I ask him a question and he doesn't readily answer me, then I will tell him, well, okay, so this is how the universe works. What you put out, you get back. So if you come and ask me a question and maybe I don't answer you, right, then all is fair. And he will then walk up to me. He may not look directly at me, and he'll ask me, well, what did you say? Because he's ready to have a conversation, because he's acknowledged that there's a give and there's a take. It was okay to make him aware that there's a give and a take. Will he always do it? No. Will he have to be reminded? Yes. Yeah. Is it okay for me to remind him?
Yeah, with my kids, I do eyes and ears. Eyes to see me, ears to hear me, but I know that sometimes I can't get that undivided attention when it comes to the eyes, but I acknowledge that they hear me when they're listening with their ears.
Right.
And that's helped out a lot. But even when it comes to like certain things, like my younger one, he gets really excited, and sometimes like I have to like stop him, tell him to take a deep breath. And even then, he's still like very energetically bouncy. So then what I've been doing a little bit more recently is I'll just hold his hands and say, do you need to jump in place? Do you need to run in place? Like what's going on? Mm-hmm. And just to get it out.
Yeah.
And then he can focus again.
Yeah.
But like when I was a kid, I noticed like when it came to like playing with other girls, I would kind of mimic what was going on, but I was never like the main character in playing house. I was like the cat or the dog. Mm. When it came to toys, kind of like how she was talking about, I didn't really know how to play with toys. Like I like to set them up, or I would hang out with my guy friends, because I didn't really like hanging out with girls too much, because I felt like odd one out all the time. Mm.
Yeah.
But, for me, if there was another kid there, then I would be able to mimic what was kind of going on. I didn't know it at the time. Just like when my mom would have to deal with me having meltdowns when I was a kid, she was just telling me being disrespectful, I was yelling, I was flailing, and I was doing all the things. So she would literally hold me like Indian style, wrap her legs around me to calm me down, which technically, if you're holding a child on the spectrum like this, it actually can help reset things neurologically. But her yelling at me completely, it disengaged the entire process of what she was trying to do, or what she didn't know that she was doing at the time.
When you said, I'm sorry, but something came to my mind when you said that. When you do things like that, when you hold children and what your mom did, a lot of times us as neurodivergents suffer from disassociation, which can turn into multiple personalities, because we have to disassociate from that person in order to be okay with what is happening in that moment. And then, as we grow up into ourselves, now we got these fragmented pieces of ourselves that we had to keep disassociating with because of the trauma. And I had to actually kind of reintegrate. It's so crazy because as soon as you said that, I remember the word integrate kept coming around me the last like few weeks ago, and I was like, God, what are you talking about? Integrate. And then I realized that I was integrating my soul fragments back to me because I disassociated when I got molested. I disassociated when I got bullied at school. I disassociated. So in my mind, when I was younger, I used to be fascinated with people with multiple personalities. That Alice girl, back in the day, it was you know what I'm talking about? This girl, she had all these multiple personalities, and I used to think that was me because
Ally Field played.
I don't know who it is, but I think her name was Alice, and she had multiple personalities, and I used to be fascinated with that because I felt like I had that because I had to disassociate so much because I had to survive. So when you said that, it just reminded me of that. Go ahead.
The question, I get what you...
Sybil. Sorry.
Right? I get what you're saying about disassociation. When you're disassociating what is happening to you because of other people that are doing something to you, right? So does that mean that when you disassociate, you
check out?
Yeah, you check out, but when you check back in, do you check back in as a different person who can handle
You
that?
don't check back in. You leave that person where it's at, and somebody else picks up the ball.
That's what somebody else picks up the ball.
Or
right?
it's kind of like when you're in a traumatic situation, not necessarily even a traumatic situation. If it's something that is very emotionally heightened, it could be a good thing too, because a part of us may not, because of the dissociation from childhood all the way up to an adult, even for some people, like intimacy-wise, the rest of the experience could be a wonderful thing. But because your brain doesn't know how to recognize the experience, it's almost like your brain will check out, but your body will still be there.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
And
so, like,
yes.
If there was people that, if there was like sexual assault or other situations, violence, abuse, and whatnot when you were a kid, and you would check out because you knew that, like, based on like certain experiences, even when it came to like telling like a white lie, when you were a kid in a space of hypervigilance, sometimes that white lie was what gave you your safety and your security.
Right. Okay.
So,
also,
are you fine?
Then,
yeah, I'm fine. No. You go in your room and you cry yourself in a damn pillow. But usually it's like the next day, or sometimes like later on that day, depending on how turbulent the experience was. At least for me. I'm curious of what Miss Sunflower over here has to say.
So, what I want to ask before you answer her, what I want to ask is, okay, so I'm just going to use childhood trauma, and I'm going to use the fact that you get molested when you're young, right? And like Olivia says, you check out, which means you kind of like you check out, you go into your subconscious and you hide that, There's a shadow of you that's in the shadows, holding on to that. So while, let's just say, fast forward to your adulthood, and it starts, you're in that adulthood where you start to have, deal with relationships and whatnot. And even a hug can trigger you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And so that other version of you is there to protect the version that's having the meltdown, that's about to have that meltdown again, right? That's
Yeah.
Okay.
And so as we're talking about this, Ray, I have a memory that came to my mind when we talked about the sexual trauma, and I thought a lot of my life, because I was sexually assaulted as a child, I would always check out in those moments because I didn't know how to healthfully have. I would always feel like uncomfortable. And when you said that, it kind of bing checked in, like, yeah, you did that a lot of your life. I mean, a lot. Like, I'm over 40, and sometimes I would still do that, And as we thought, I said, you still have to deal with that. Like, today, in this moment, I thought, you haven't dealt with that. And I was like, maybe this conversation was supposed to trigger you to be like, oh, you still got some inner work to do right here, because I feel that thing. I'm like, whoo, baby. But I would check out, like, here's an example. One time, this might sound silly, I was dating this guy, and he had this big house with this pool, and he used to treat me kind of weird. And this other girl inside of me used to be like, he came in, he didn't hug me or whatever, he was acting on me, and the girl in my head was like, oh, that motherfucker acting like that? All right. And like, this is how she talked to me, right? The other girl. And then I went upstairs, he did something, and she said, go down there and pat. She said in my head, go down there and start packing. So he got one more time to do this, and we out of here. And like, that's how the conversation would go in my head. So I packed my stuff or whatever. He did something else. She would like, go ahead, it's time to go. And the other side of me didn't want to. It was like I was fighting with myself. And it was just like I had to listen to her. And I put the stuff in the car. I got in the car and I called his phone and was like, you might want to close your garage. And he was like, what are you talking about? I was like, I left. And when I got home, the other girl was mourning. She was like sad, like I wanted to be with him. But the other one that was coming to protect me was like, no, I said it's time to go.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how it would happen for me. And now these two are merging in. But before, she would just in my head be like, it's time to go. That motherfucker acting like he going, oh, we on the internet. Sorry, y'all. He gonna do this and this and that. We not tolerating that. But then the other girl mourned for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, sad about it, because that's not what she wanted to do. She wanted to be with somebody. She just, it's okay. But the other one was like, no. And then the other one would go away while the one that told you to do the stuff, and now you sitting there crying, and she don't come back out until you need her again. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So,
well, it does kind of make sense to me. It makes sense to me because she's being held on to by ego, which is protecting her, saying, see, you're here in the shadows, you retreated to me because something terrible has happened to you. It's okay, I got you, right? And you don't know yet that you need to, there's some healing that needs to go on, but she's still subconsciously trying to help you. She's subconsciously sending you messages into your conscious that is trying to help you. I think that's great, but at the same time, can it kind of be debilitating to have this war within yourself?
Yes. Right? Very much so. And that's why they're integrating now, because now I don't have to hear all that. It's like that's like when I said that lady was crying, the old Olivia would have been like, this new merged in Olivia. Okay, well, you all right? Okay, moving on.
Okay.
Because that's where that comes in, because, okay, I'm not saying I'm not here to be a team player, but you're not about to keep every time I see you, you crying now. I'm not here for that. I'm not your therapist, and I don't say that in that moment.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But I just kind of maneuver in a way that's like protective of me.
Right.
It's kind of like when we get into like certain spaces, it's kind of hard for us to navigate. Like for me, what I feel like is I'm learning now to understand my emotions for the first time, mainly in my life, because I was constantly having people please take care of everyone else's.
Right.
I could pick up on anyone else's emotions all day long.
Me too.
But if somebody asks me how do I feel, it's very hard for me to say I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm mad, I'm frustrated. But I can tell you my thoughts that can correlate into explaining my emotions, but it's kind of like it's delayed.
Yeah.
Right.
I got about 5 more minutes, guys.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So I'm going to ask this question, and both of you, either one of you or both of you can answer in 2.5 minutes for each of you. Do you feel that through knowing that you are on the spectrum, through knowing that the fact that you know that you're on the spectrum and you've identified with what it is you are going, what it is that you have gone through, and now being able to go through it with some identity of what it is, do you feel that you can identify when you can go through your own healing process by yourself without having to direct it to a therapist or psychiatrist or whatnot? Do you think that you go within yourself to help that identify what you need through the identity of the label of whether it be neurodivergent or ADHD or what?
For me personally, I feel that it's more my outside world has a harder time navigating me with my label than me identifying and working with my label.
Okay. And
I don't know about Olivia, but it's like people see me differently now, and it's like I get a completely different treatment.
Okay.
I think for me, I went to the ADHD center to get kind of like, diagnosed, even though I already had a diagnosis. For me, I've been doing my own personal work, and the label kind of helps me go into what does ADHD look like. So when I'm having whatever, I can kind of like look at some of the things and say, what is that? What is it? So I don't necessarily have a therapist. God really has been taking me through a lot of things. And so I am working this through on my own with the help of God, and that, and the revealing of like when words keep coming, like integration just kept coming around me. So I started saying, okay, integration, what? And I started digging. I said, so that's how I do it, because when things keep coming around, even though I'm not necessarily in the spiritual world the way I was, I still hold some semblance. I learned a lot in that world, but that world was a little too overwhelming, so I had to back up from that world, and that's how I ended up back in the church, because I needed a little bit more stability in my spiritual walk. That makes sense? It was too open for me. I could hear everything. I could feel and hear everything, and it was starting to overwhelm me in that sense. So I had to reclaim some of myself, because I just felt like space. It felt like space. If that makes sense.
Going back to taking a step back from spirituality into a more
I know.
fixed religious kind of thing helps you a little bit. Having a sense of having a sense of the parameters,
Yeah,
right?
I need that. For me,
Uh-huh.
I didn't realize it, but I need some parameters because I am very intense and I go off deep ends.
Mhm.
And I need some boundaries for me to keep myself safe. Because spiritually, I was getting into things and I was hearing and feeling, and it started to unravel me.
Mhm.
And I didn't realize it until I became unraveled, and it was too much. So for me, I needed boundaries in order to regain my sanity because I felt like in a few minutes, it was like I
Mhm.
can't
Sorry about that.
explain it. It was just loud. Everything was loud, spiritually, everything. And I needed that to go back into the church for a minute to kind of bring me back. Because for me, I need parameters because I'll go off and
Well,
just be out there.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I hate to cut this short. I really would love to talk to you, Olivia, more when I have a chance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well,
Guys,
Sandra.
send me a message.
But my partner actually came over and surprised me, and I didn't expect him to be here in between us being in between living spaces.
mhm.
So I would love to talk to you and reconnect. And
Yes,
it was
you
a pleasure.
you guys follow each other.
yes.
Yep,
Before you get off, Olivia, please tell people where they can find you. Because I know I follow
absolutely.
YouTube and everything.
You
All
guys can
right,
find me on YouTube at Professor Sunflower.
Professor
Instagram, of course,
Sunflower.
Professor
That's
Sunflower.
awesome. All
Say
right.
again.
Well, said that's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All
And
right. Well, I'll catch you guys later.
Ray is on YouTube as well.
Okay.
Okay. So we will need to pick this up again and again. I can just feel that, we just keep going on and on. And every time I talk to you, more opens up. And then we get it's like, we need more time. So we need more time. We just really do, because I know that before you leave, and I want to let everybody know that last year, your light language became um, um, vibratorily available for you.
Yeah. And since I've been in the church, it has even gotten deeper and
Right.
more broader.
Mhm.
So like I said, I feel like that's where I need to be for right now. I can't speak for what's going to happen
No,
a year from now. So, but for now, I feel safe.
yeah, which is what the light language is, the language of your soul. It speaks between self, the authentic self, and the divine creator, and then it's a reverberation through all of your body, all of your mind. So I'm glad you came to that authentic love, and you're finding yourself, and you're enjoying the wonderment of self.
Yes,
Authentic.
I am.
And I thank you that you have come to my space to give of your goddess self. Ah, such a goddess.
Thank
And
you.
I'm glad those who have joined in on this conversation. I thank you for being here. From my heart to yours, be blessed.
Ashe. Love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining me on Soul Conversation with Sandra, the podcast, special Sunday edition. Thank you, Professor Sunflower. Thank you, I'll Say It. Thank you, Ray. Thank you for being part of this wonderful podcast. I am going to attempt to save it and have it available in my bio. So everyone, have a blessed Sunday. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Be blessed. Love and light.